We've been doing it.
Okay.
So this is Donna Fine, and we are live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm actually in the Danger Zone, which is the boardroom for four romantic suspense authors. My goodness, I can't get that out. And we're going to meet with Monette Michaels, who is writing romantic suspense, and she's going to share a little bit about herself and the books that she's writing. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I am an attorney by profession, and I call myself a recovering attorney. I've gone through the 12-step program. I like the idea of justice, but I've often found that the justice system doesn't bring justice. I was an employment lawyer and I represented wrongfully discharged clients, and it was very frustrating. So I went into arbitration and mediation. That was more successful, but when I started writing books, I found that I liked doing that because I could always right the wrongs and make it more black and white, and the good guys win and the bad guys lose. So that was more fun. I read romantic suspense. I read everything. I started out reading Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys and Trixie Belden and all of those things. Read my way through the mystery section and the sci-fi section. Actually, I started, my first book that was published was paranormal romantic suspense with a psychic heroine. And I did write one legal thriller, and it was won an Emmy Award. That's the independent electronically published award. It was called Blindsided, and I co-authored that with someone. She was not an author. She was actually somebody who lived through a real life experience, and we fictionalized it. And that was called Blindsided, which is not in print anymore, too bad. But I basically tend to write mostly romantic suspense and science fiction romance, and I have two main series. My romantic suspense series is Security Specialist International, and that features a private security firm that does works against terrorism, hires out to small governments, does kidnap rescue, bodyguarding, that type of thing. And then I also write a science fiction romance series called Prime Chronicles, which basically takes place in the wide expanse of the Milky Way galaxy. And so both series do very well, I think. I have my fans that like the one, and then I have my fans that like the other, and I'm pulled between both sets of fans. So
both want you to write another book.
That's right, and I am not a fast writer, so and I write long. So, and my process is detailed. So I'm kind of A-type. Yeah.
So do you do a lot of research?
Yes, I do a lot of research. Google is your friend. However, I do buy books. Half-price books is your friend. There's all kinds of books at half-price books, and you can find all kinds of information. Between half-price books and Wikipedia, I am good. Okay.
You can get all your research.
As I can. And then my husband's kind of my research too, because he's a doctor.
Oh, that's
so
good.
He's a pathologist. So
wow.
if I need to know about, germs and viruses and bacteria type things and what kills what and how long does it take to kill you. Yes, actually he was very popular when we used to go to mystery conventions with the Romance Writers of America. We'd be in the bar and everybody would want to know how to kill somebody. He does not kill people, but he knows the results thereof.
Wow.
Yes,
that would be. I
yes.
can see all the authors going, okay, help me with my plot line.
We're going on a cruise. What kind of bacteria could we put into the food, and how long would it take for the symptoms to show up, and how fast would they die? I mean, we were doing this in a bar in Atlanta, and other people were looking at us kind of strangely. Yes.
It's kind of like your Wikipedia if someone's looking at it.
Right.
They're like, what is she researching?
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, like, I know you write a lot of alpha males, so I was wondering, like, how you balance that with the strong females and not take it too over the top.
I think my alpha males sort of have beta hearts. They're very respectful of women. They want to protect them like all alpha males do. They're very territorial, which is actually sociologically, alpha males tend to be territorial. But they respect the fact that women have brains and that they can think for themselves. Except when their safety is concerned. But my heroines are pretty strong. They're pretty kick-ass. they've been taking care of themselves long before these guys come along, so they figured they can take care of themselves after that. But they also find that it's nice sometimes to pass that burden on to somebody else. Okay. Sometimes it's okay for the guy to, you know, be the person who ensures that you're safe, and you know, make sure that your house is secure, and that you're not walking on the sidewalk where a car could hit you, and opens your door and ushers you in and helps you sit down. I mean, that's just being a gentleman. And so my alpha males are gentlemen, though they can get a little bit over the top at times when their woman has been endangered. I think you'll find in my Security Specialist International series that even the ones that don't have a background in which they're, you know, like they were not military, or they don't have the martial arts training or something, that they're pretty self-aware and they know how to protect themselves. And in my Prime series, the first 3 books, well, 2 of them are military officers, so they were trained. So they made these really alpha males, and it come from a society where there were very few women, and women were kept protected and hidden in the home and stuff like that, so they wouldn't die or anything, or so that their enemy could not kidnap them and take them away because they don't have that many women. You know, there was some pushback, and that creates the tension. I mean, I have a critique partner who is always going, I want the feels, I want the tension. You know, I go, this is just the first draft, Sherry. I'm going to go back and put that stuff in on the second round. But, you know, she's always saying, well, just in case you forget, this is where you need to put the feels. Okay. So,
that is
yeah.
good.
Oh, she's on me on that all the time.
And so before I interviewed you, I was stalking your website just a little.
Okay.
And I love the information you had on there that you share about each of the books, because I think as a reader, you know, we like the backstory and how they got started. And so I read, I was going to see if you'd share how the SSI series came about, because I think Keely was the kind of the seed for that.
Yes, she was. I live in the Indianapolis area, and and it's totally strange how your brain makes these things up. I guess it's being part of the creative process. There was a young boy there. They featured in the news, and actually I think he was later featured on 60 Minutes. He was 8 years old at the time, and he was a genius. I mean, he was already he'd already disproven one of Hawking's theories.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
And at Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis, in the physics department, he was actually not a professor, but a teaching assistant, and working with the students and helping them. And he was already working on math and physics and computer science degrees. And I thought, well, that's really cool. He's only 8 years old. So, you know, if I take a young female who was a genius and who went to school, went to MIT early, and one of her youngest of her brothers had to go with her to kind of be, because he was also going to MIT. Instead of going into the military like his brothers did, he had to take care of his younger sister. And so he went to MIT with her, and of course she was very young, and he was protecting her, and then she ends up teaching there. And by the time you meet her in Eye of the Storm, you know, she's just, and then plus she's growing up with all these older brothers. She's got a set of twins too. She's got 5 older brothers, and they're all either in the military, and her dad was a Marine colonel. Okay, so she always played with the boys, so she was kick-ass. I mean, she always wanted to play with the boys. She never wanted to be the victim. You know, they play out in the woods and play war, and you know, she was just as kick-ass as the others. So I made her a very kick-ass heroine. And I'm telling you, it's either feast or famine on reviews on that. I got to the point I don't really like to read reviews anymore on Amazon, because I go, did they really read the book? Okay, and then of course there are people who just out and out hated her and saying, well, nobody could be that way. Well, that's why I put that information up online, because I wanted to say, excuse me, if an 8-year-old boy can be working on degrees at the same time in computer science, math, and physics, a woman can do it too.
Yeah, that's
okay,
right.
and so that's why I did. So she was the impetus for it. And then, of course, she had to have older brothers, and the dad had to be military, and her mom's like this teeny tiny little dainty lady, and she runs the whole roost.
Oh, I love it.
So the mom is really
okay,
the
that's
boss.
already sounds like a series I want to read. So.
Yeah, the mom is the boss, and of course, what's going to happen is that she meets this guy that her brother works for, and she's going to she has to go to them and give them information. They're in danger. She's working for NSA at the time and comes across some intel, and nobody believes her, so she's going down to save them, and she meets Ren, and sparks fly.
Wow. So what's the name of her book?
I know the Storm.
Oh, that's right.
The first one. Yeah.
Oh, she is the first. Okay,
yeah.
good. And so her
then
brothers.
After that, the second book was going to be one of the characters I introduced in the first book, not necessarily one of the brothers, but a very minor character in that book, Risto Smith, said, no, my book's the next book. And I actually started the other guy's book and had a third written, and I go, I can't finish it because Risto's book just flew. It's actually my favorite book. Cold Day in Hell is my favorite book.
Oh, what we're Cold Day in Hell. Okay.
Yeah, Cold Day in Hell. But, and then I have 2 novellas that are free.
Oh.
Stormy Weather Baby and Stormfront. And Stormy Weather Baby comes after Eye of the Storm and before Cold Day in Hell, and then after Cold Day in Hell is Stormfront, because it hooks up 2 characters that meet in Cold Day in Hell. And I like to have a couple of free things out there to give people idea how I write, because that's how I write. My prime books are the same voice and kick-ass heroines and alphas that I write in Security Specialists, but they're in the future and they're out in the galaxy.
Wow,
so.
very good. We will share those links on the blog post, so I'll make sure you can download those. All right, well, we're going to sign off on Facebook Live, and then we're going to go over to the blog, and we're going to record for that. I'll have that post up later, and you'll want to check back in because we're going to ask her what is something others may not know about her. So you want to check back. Bye.